Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. My name is Sam, and I work for an organization called Venture Outdoors. At Venture Outdoors, we focus on providing an opportunity for people of all ages and abilities to enjoy everything that being outside has to offer. While we can't all do that together at this time, we can still learn exciting things about what makes the outdoors so cool. This video, and others like it, will contain a lesson about something in nature and tie in a STEM component. After the lesson, there will be a fun activity that you can complete as you follow along at home. Today's topic is the science of seeds. Seeds are very important for plant life, but humans benefit from them almost every day. So let's find out more about seeds. So let's start off by talking about what seeds are. But before we get into that, think about if you've ever seen seeds before. Where might they have been? Have you seen them on flowers on a walk in the park? Or have you seen them on your plate when you eat dinner? Both of these are possible answers, as seeds are everywhere. Seeds are basically baby plants. These small pod-like structures are what will grow up to become tasty fruit or tall trees or pretty flowers. These seeds come in all shapes and sizes and can be located on multiple parts of the plant. Sometimes seeds can stay in the ground, or they could be part of the flower of the plant. They could even be located inside the fruit of the plant. Think about some fruits you've eaten. Have seeds been inside there? We'll talk a little bit more about this later. Let's move on to what seeds do and how they work. Like we said earlier, with proper care, seeds can grow up to be all kinds of plants. Or, before that happens, they could travel to help spread the reach of the plant. This spreading can either be good or bad for the local ecosystem. If the seeds come from a plant that is important to other life forms in the area, spreading that seed will be beneficial. However, if the seed comes from something like an invasive plant, that's not good. Invasive means that that plant is not native to the area and will have bad effects on the local ecosystem and environment. If these seeds spread too much, the entire ecosystem could be altered. Every seed has three parts: the embryo, the nutrients, and the casing. The embryo is what will sprout and grow under the right conditions. The nutrients are what will help that seed as it grows. Think of nutrients for the seed like vitamins and healthy food for us. We eat them to stay healthy and grow up, and that's what the nutrients will help the seed do. Lastly, the casing for the seed is what holds it all together and protects it before it is planted. With the proper care and three very important things that we'll talk about in the next slide, the casing for the seed will break open as the seed begins to sprout. Seeds can stay dormant for a long time though, so even if that seed has been in a bag, like you have, or unplanted for a long time, this action can still happen. The action of the seed breaking open is called germination. This big word basically means that the seed is ready to grow. Part of the seed begins to grow down into the soil, which creates roots and holds the plant in there, and the other part grows up to create the sprout that will eventually break through the soil and create a new plant. So what do plants need to grow? I've already mentioned the phrase proper conditions a couple times, but that is because it is so important that a seed has those to help it grow. Now, different seeds will require different conditions to grow. Some need a very wet environment, while some need a very dry environment. Some need a lot of sunlight, while others don't need much light at all. Overall, the three main things a seed needs to grow are oxygen, sunlight, and water. Just like we need air to breathe, seeds need oxygen to grow, so they shouldn't be planted in very packed soil or a place with poor air circulation. Plants also need sunlight. They can achieve this by being planted outside or being planted inside in a place that gets plenty of sun during the day. They also need water just like us. This can come from rain or sprinklers outside, or a watering can if the plant is inside. Combine these three things with the nutrients already in the seed, and the plant will have a great environment that will help it sprout. Keep in mind the fact that every seed is different, so make sure you know what conditions your seed needs to thrive before you can plant it. If a seed isn't in the ground growing, It could be out in the environment somewhere, moving around to help spread the reach of the plant. Seeds do this in three main ways. Seeds are pretty light, so if a big gust of wind comes up, seeds will sometimes detach from the plant and get blown all around. Once the seed lands, they'll be ready to find their home in the soil and begin the germination process somewhere new thanks to the wind. Some seeds even float. Seeds like this will be able to use streams or even oceans to their advantage, as they'll use the currents to travel and begin to germinate in new places. Lastly, wild animals like deer and bears will sometimes eat seeds that were on their food. After they digest this food and go to the bathroom, those seeds are in a new place where they can grow. So let's take a look at a couple different types of seeds. You can see all these seeds are different shapes and sizes. On the left there is an avocado seed. That big pit in the middle is the seed. It'll sprout on the top and take root from the bottom. Below that, might have seen these during Halloween. Those are pumpkin seeds. When you're carving a pumpkin and you take all the gunk from the middle out, those white pods are the pumpkin seeds. Above that and to the right of the avocado are sunflower seeds. That's what we'll be planting today. And then to the right of that is a pomegranate, and a pomegranate is filled with tiny little red seeds. All right, so now that we've learned about seeds, we're going to be planting our own. For this experiment, what you'll need are a spoon, markers, a bag of seeds. Not all your seeds will look like mine. Some might look a little different. A plastic cup, and a bag of soil. So I've already planted my seed, and you might be able to see right there, it's starting to sprout. It's taken a couple days, so at the end of the experiment, we'll get into that. But so you can start off by taking your plastic cup and making a nice little design on it or something. If you'd like to do that, you can write your name, you can write seeds, anything like that. If you want to pause the video, feel free to do that and take your time. After you've decorated your cup, we're ready to begin planting the seeds. So what we'll need to do first is take our bag of soil, and you might not be using all the soil today, which is perfectly fine, just enough to make sure the cup has enough soil for the seeds to grow. You'll take the soil and you'll fill it about halfway up. You don't need to fill it all the way to the top. You don't need to pack it down. Remember, seeds do need oxygen. So if we pack the soil down, it might not get as much oxygen as it needs. So fill it about halfway up, and once you're ready to move on, take your bag of seeds. Now I have 6 seeds in here. Last time I only had 3, which was just enough. So I'll take my 3 seeds in my soil and I'll plant them, and I'll make sure they're distanced apart. If they're all clumped together, they might not be able to grow the way they need. So I'll take my 3 seeds and plant them in 3 different spots, or more if you have more seeds. And then I'll take some more of my soil and top it off. After that, I'll move the soil around a little bit with my spoon, so I make sure that the seeds are covered in the soil and there's enough soil on top and on the bottom for them to take root and sprout up. So now you should have something that looks like this. You have your cup. It's filled about halfway with soil, and it has 3 or more seeds in it. Now you're ready to add the water. Take the water, I put mine in a little cup, and I'll pour it right in. Now, remember, seeds don't need that much water, especially here where there's not a lot of soil. So make sure you aren't flooding it when you're adding it. All right, our plant is planted and we've watered it. Now, let's talk about caring for it from here on out. So, what were the 3 most important things that a plant needs to survive? Water, sunlight, and air. Let's talk about how your plant can achieve all 3 of those while you're watching it grow. First off, water. You should be watering your plant every 2 to 3 days. You shouldn't water it every day, and you shouldn't go more than 4 or 5 days without watering it. If you need to set a reminder, that's perfectly fine. For oxygen, as long as you made sure your soil wasn't too packed down and that your plant is in a place where it has good air circulation, you should be fine with that. Lastly is sunlight. Since it's winter time, you shouldn't put your plant outside, but you do need to make sure it gets sunlight. Make sure you put it somewhere where it gets plenty of sunlight during the day, whether this is by a windowsill or on a counter somewhere that you know the sun shines in. So that's all for today, but before we go, let's review some of the things we've learned. Seeds are pods that come in all shapes and sizes that will turn into plants once they have the right conditions in the soil. A seed starting to grow begins a process called germination when it starts to grow roots below and part of the seedling grows up to the surface. Seeds can move around to help the plant grow elsewhere in many ways. Seeds need water, air, and sunlight to grow. Remember to make sure the seeds we planted today have all these conditions to help it sprout. One more important thing to note is that your seeds will probably not sprout right away. It could be about 6 days, but mine took even longer than that. Thanks for watching today, everyone. We'll see you on our next Venture Outdoors video. Bye-bye.